Hello my friends, welcome back to another shorter vinyasa practice. This one we're focusing on slower upper body strength and stretch. So we're going to be holding asanas for a little bit longer than a usual vinyasa practice. So this one is going to be perfect for the days that you feel like a little bit of something, but you don't want to rush it. In particular, we're working up into our crow pose, our kakasana, and our camel pose, ustrasana. We won't have too much time to play with these poses in this class today because this is a shorter version of a longer class that we have in our Patreon account. But if you were curious about exploring this in more depth, then please feel free to check that out in the link down below. We're going to get straight into it in a tabletop position. So come onto your hands and your knees, spread your fingertips really wide, and then start to take some circles on the wrists. And while we do this, let's just check in with the breath, noticing the breath as it comes in through the nose, and then as it exhales out of the nose. And then begin to swap directions of the circle. Pulling all your attention here to your breath, this movement in this moment. Come back through center and then turn your fingertips to the side of the mat. We're just going to take a couple of shifts side to side. And if you did feel like a little bit more, you could turn your fingertips to the back, so fingertips to the knees, and maybe take a little shift forward and back. And wherever your hands have landed, can you come back to a neutral position with your spine? Use your next breath in to open the chest for a cow pose, squeezing the shoulder blades back along the spine. As you exhale, can you push away from the ground, rounding through the upper back? Take these next transitions between these two poses a little bit slower, a little bit more sweetly. At any point, know that you can always flip the hands around. Can you find the extents of these positions? So noticing how much you can round to the upper back, how much you can draw the belly button inwards, and how much you can open through the chest, broadening the collarbones, lifting the tailbone to the sky. Let's go one more breath. Find your way back through center. Just flip the back of the palms down to the ground. Maybe take a little lean back. And then come back through center. Keep the hips over the knees, but take a big step forward with both hands. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, drop the chest down to the ground for puppy pose. Big opener for the shoulders, the thoracic cavity, the spine, the ribs, the lumbar spine. Another alternative you can try here is bend the elbows and bring the thumbs to the back of the neck. This gets into the triceps a little bit more. Let's just take one more deep breath in, feel the ribs expand to the side of the mat. Deep breath out through the nose, let it go. Release the hands to the ground. Keep them to the front of your mat. Tuck onto your toes. We're coming into an extended plank. So maybe walking your feet out a little bit more to the back of the mat. Know that you can always bring the knees down here as well. Tuck the ribs in a little bit, little tuck of the tailbone as well. Squeeze the glutes and push away from the ground. So you're protracting your shoulder blades here. Again, either on your knees or your toes, start to lower the elbows down to the ground. Little tap on the ground, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, maybe one elbow at a time or two elbows, come back into your plank. Let's try that 2 more times. Breathe in, lower the elbows down. Exhale, push them back up. That's the hardest part. One more. Breathe in, come down. This time, lower the knees down to the ground, lower the hips down to the ground, open up the chest for Sphinx pose. Salamba Bhujangasana. otherwise known as supported cobra. Can you push your forearms into the ground? Feel your elbows almost like they're trying to traction back to your ribs. You want to squeeze the glutes a little bit and action a little tuck of the tailbone here. And that's just going to help keep the lumbar spine active so we're not dumping down into our back. Hold here for another breath in. And a breath out, release down to the ground. Bring the hands by the ribs. Breathe in as you push up to your knees. As you exhale, tuck onto the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Maybe you pedal out your feet here. Dropping one heel down, dropping the other heel down. Creating space down the back of the legs, through the spine, through the shoulders. And then when you're ready, find a moment of stillness. Kick your heels down to the ground. Imagine your hamstrings were trying to touch what's behind you. For me, it's a house, but you might be something, might be a wall. Use your next breath in, sweep the right toes high, three-legged dog. Keep the leg long. Hold here. Aim to square your hips with the ground. Soft bend of the left leg. Hold for another breath in. As you exhale, roll forward, tap the right knee to the right elbow and hold. Try hug it up as high as you can on the tricep. Use your next breath in, swing it to the left elbow, hold. You can always bring the left knee down here as well. One more breath in this position. Lower the right knee to the ground, open modified side plank. Left hand extends to the front, lifting your hips high. Of course, if you felt like a little bit more, you can plant into the left foot and maybe lift the right knee, almost like it's trying to touch to the right breast. If you are taking that variation, keep your hips lifted up. Hold for another breath in. And breath out. Lower the right knee down. Lower your hips down to the ground. You're going to spin to the left, kind of an open twist here. So twisting to the left, right knee pointing up to the sky. Soften the shoulders down the spine. Coming back through center, this time we twisted the other way. So maybe the left elbow wraps in front of the left shin. Twisting up to the sky, taking a deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, can you twist a little bit deeper to the right? Lower the right knee back down, press up back into modified side plank. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale to hold. Left hand touches the ground. Breathe in, right knee comes to right elbow. And then as you exhale, step the right foot outside the hand. Left knee comes to left elbow, breathe in. And then as you exhale, step the left foot outside the left hand. Drop the hips down to the ground, malasana. Hold here. Hands through heart center. Squeeze the elbows into the knees, press them out. Soften the shoulders back and down. You could even clasp your hands into fists and roll out the wrists if that felt good for you. And then when you're ready, breathe in as you lift your hips up. Walk your feet underneath your hips. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Hands walk to the shins, breathe in, lift halfway. Exhale, hands come to the ground, step back into downward facing dog. Lifting your hips up and back, and you can stay here or use your next breath in to ripple yourself forward into a plank position. And then either on your knees or your toes, chaturanga, come down to the belly. Open for baby cobra, drawing the shoulders back, taking a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, pushing back up to your knees, tucking toes, lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Use your next breath in, sweep the left toes high. Hold here, soften the right knee a little bit, squaring the hips off to the ground, drawing the shoulders up the spine. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, roll forward, left knee to left elbow. Hold here. Can you squeeze the left foot up into the left hip? Breathe in, tap the left knee to the right elbow, hold. Keep pushing away from the ground, rounding through your upper back. Left knee comes down to the ground. Breathe in, open the right hand, peel it towards the front of your mat. Exhale, modified side plank. Now you can stay here. If you did feel like more, you can press into the right foot and lift the left knee off the ground, feeling the adductors engage. One more breath. And lower the left knee back down. Sink your hips down to the ground, open to the right. Fingertips come to the right side of your mat. Keep the left knee lifting up high. Deep breath in through the nose, lift up tall. Exhale, maybe you twist a little bit deeper, but keep pushing that left knee behind you. Come back through center, land to the left hip, twist to the left. Maybe right elbow comes in front of the shin. Exhale, turn the chest. Plant the left hand back down, lift your hips enough for the left knee to slide back in. Breathe in, side plank. Exhale, hold. Right hand comes to the ground, tuck onto the right toes. Breathe in, left knee to left elbow, hold here. Exhale, step the left foot outside the left hand. Breathe in, right knee to right elbow. Exhale, right foot outside the right hand. Drop your hips down to the ground, back into Malasana. A little activation through the glutes here. Maybe you clasp your hands into fists again and roll out your wrists. When you're ready, lift your hips back up, take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, walk your feet in close to each other, feet about hip width distance apart. This is where we'll have an opportunity to play with our crow pose. It'll be the only time that we practice this today. But if you wanted to give this a go, you'll spread your fingertips wide, hands about shoulder width distance. You'll come up high onto your toes so that your hips are lifted, elbows bend back. You want to try connect the back of the knee with the back of the elbow. And you'll keep kind of shifting forward, looking underneath your head, and maybe your toes stay on the ground. And then if you did feel like a little bit more, you could hug one foot up to the hip. Maybe the other foot hugs up to the hip as well. So you're stacking bones here, which helps you balance. Won't stay here for too long, just take one more breath. Land your feet down, come into a toe stand. So chest is lifted, clasp your hands into fists and roll out the wrists. Hands come together, interlace the fingertips, take a breath in as you reach the palms up to the sky. As you exhale, can you push the palms away but draw the shoulder blades down like you're playing a tug of war between your palms and your shoulders. Use your next breath in, tap the knees down to the ground. Exhale, lift up. Playing with Ustrasana, camel pose here. We might start with the hands on the hips. If you did have space to explore one hand down, one hand up, you can go for it. But remember, we haven't been practicing for too long. Take a deep breath in through the nose, lift up tall. Exhale, little push of the hips forward. Keep the heart lifted as you squeeze the elbows back, shoulders back. Taking one more breath in this position. And then when you're ready, just slowly starting to make your way out. Land your hips down on your heels, swing your feet to the side, reach the feet out in front of you. Final position for our practice today. Take a deep breath in as you lift up tall, arms reach overhead. As you exhale, lean forward, clasp your fingertips around your big toes. If they reach, if they don't, that's totally fine. Take another breath in, maybe you lift up halfway. Exhale, if you do manage to get the clasp, can you pull your fingertips into the legs? You can always bend your knees here. In fact, I would highly encourage it. Elbows might pull out wide. Taking a couple of grounding breaths to finish our practice. When you're ready to start to roll yourself up again. I thank you so much for practicing with me today. It was short, it was sweet, it was strong and stretchy, and I hope that you enjoyed yourself. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you. And of course, if you wanted to explore a long variation of this class, then check out our Patreon account down below. Anyway, from me to you, namaste. Thank you so much for being here.